I'm a backend developer with a few years of experience, but I specialize in WordPress as well. I've been doing WordPress for a long time, about 4 to 5 years, both as a business and also for personal projects as well. And it has been very beneficial to me. And that's one of the reasons why I love the platform. I love the tool. I also, I'm a trainer associate, and I'm going to be taking you on this course for a few months. So at the end of this course, you are going to be able to create any kind of website out there. Basically, you'll be able to create different kinds of websites, from oil company websites to hospital websites to websites for e-commerce, because that's one of the things I'm very particular about. A lot of people have stores out there, and most stores require having an e-commerce website. So I'm going to be showing you all of these things. I'm also going to be telling you how all of these tools are important and beneficial, and how you can actually maximize all of these tools to great use. All right. So first of all, I'd like to apologize for last week. My network was a bit bad. Hopefully it's going to be better this week. I'm going to be showing you how to get started basically with WordPress. I'm not very sure if any of you were in the last class. So I'm going to start from the top, and hopefully we're going to start designing before the end of today. So what is WordPress? WordPress basically is a content management system. And when we talk about content management systems, what we mean is it just helps you manage your content. All right. It helps you to manage any kind of content. And when we talk about content, we know a lot of people who develop content and things like that. We talk about content, we talk about music, it can be images, it can be videos, it can be write-ups. All of these things are contents. So what WordPress does for you is that it helps you to manage your content. WordPress is a very powerful tool. But how did it all start? Basically, WordPress started as a blogging platform. I don't know if any one of you is familiar with, blogging, but there was a time where blogging was the in thing, and everybody was basically blogging. And what they did was they usually went to WordPress.com to create a blog. But as time went on, WordPress decided to become an open source tool. And what it means to be open source is that it allowed for people to make modifications to the platform. So people decided to use WordPress as an opportunity to create websites. All right, so they moved from a blogging platform into a website development platform. So now people are developing any kind of websites. Now, WordPress uses two very important things. The first thing it uses is that it uses themes. What are themes? Themes are basically templates. They're like the foundation of your design. They're the foundation of your design. While plugins are used to give extra functionality to your website. So if you want your website to look beautiful, you need to find a good theme. If you want your website to work perfectly, you need to find the best plugins. So these two things come together to make what we have today as WordPress. So you can build a WordPress website using those two things. Those two elements make up at least 60–70% of every WordPress website. All right. So I like to give a stretch of all we're going to be learning over the next few months in one class, so that you can see the good and the bad all in one day. But before I do, I always like to get to know my students. We didn't do that very well last week, but we're going to do that this week. I just want to know my students and also know why exactly it is you're doing WordPress, as this is going to help me know how to go about my training. So Oluchi, please, can you tell us about yourself? Just tell us your name, what you do, and why you want to learn WordPress design.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Oluchi Ibe, that's my full name, and I work in a bank as same here.
Okay.
I work in a bank as a customer service manager.
Yes.
I came to digital awareness just recently, and I'm ready to absorb as much as I can absorb, and
Okay.
diversify and leave what I've been doing for so long. So basically, it's just for me to have chart a different course for my career, and leave customer service for good.
Okay, so that's a good approach. I like the fact that you're now trying to be open-minded and accept and adopt the digital world, which is very important and necessary. One thing I can assure you is that WordPress is one of the best places to start when it comes to transitioning, especially if you're coming from a field outside of tech, because with WordPress, you don't need a lot of coding. And slowly you get to build yourself, you get to build your coding skills with a little bit of HTML and CSS. All right, so that's a good way to start. All right.
Thank you for the encouragement.
You're welcome anytime. Next up is Smith. Smith, can you hear me? Can you tell us your name, what it is you do, and okay, you're in a noisy environment. Okay, your name is Smith. Eshe. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce your surname. You have to pronounce it probably in the next class. Okay, okay, you're a journalist. Oh, that's beautiful. Why did you choose WordPress? Yomi, please get ready as well. We're going to hear from you next after Smith is. Okay, we're still waiting for that answer, why you chose WordPress and web design. Yomi, can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon. I can hear you.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Are you too?
I'm good. All right. So can you tell us about your name and about yourself and why you chose WordPress?
Okay, my name is Ogundupe Yomi. So
Okay.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm into business. So actually, I used to be an IT person when I was in school. So I actually had this fear for for IT. Yeah. But I wasn't really opportune to learn things back then in school because I was so particular about my CGPA.
Yeah.
So yeah. So recently I just felt that I really need to make myself relevant to the society by upskilling. You get it? So I decided to just look into freelancing. So I could see that there are opportunities in freelancing, particularly when you have an IT skill. It makes you relevant to the society. And based on the fact that everybody's actually going IT now. So when you have an IT skill, even if you're a business owner, anything can happen in Nigeria, which is Nigeria. So just to prevent those unforeseen circumstances, you understand? You have to get yourself ready. You need to make yourself relevant to society by upskilling. So I feel this is really going to. I've actually had some little experiences with people who are actually working with WordPress. So why I actually opted in for WordPress is because I feel it's going to be an easy way to get started, like you have said earlier. So it's going to be very easy for one to get started, in the IT journey. So that is why I actually opted in for WordPress development.
Okay. So I'm going to be taking down all the notes I'm hearing so far. I'm going to tell you my personal story as well because I am an anatomist by training, by certification. But one way or the other, I found myself in tech. So if I can go from anatomy into tech, trust me, anybody can transition. It all depends on how. I have a story behind that. And let me just quickly say my story before Miriam tells us about herself. Thank you for joining, Miriam. All right, so my name is Tina Akiro. I studied anatomy in school a while back, and while I was in school, the goal was to be a medical doctor. But one way or the other, I found out that I just really love tech. I loved, not like I really love tech per se, but I loved the fact that there was money in it. I was just in the business side of tech. I used to get the jobs. I had a partner who would create the website, we split the money. That's how we kept on doing it. Then as time went on, I realized that I think this tech is actually going to pay me in the long run. So I started building my skill in technology with WordPress. I started with WordPress only. And today I now code, I do programming, I do a lot of things, back end, front end, anything. I basically do it with technology. But it all started with me having the desire and seeing the potential in actually learning this skill. So it's not just about learning the skill, you have to make sure that you monetize this skill. And you have to learn that in this course. I can assure you're going to learn how to monetize your skill at the end of this course. It is going to be a very interesting course. So Smith was, I saw what you typed as well. I saw your reason as well. You spoke about joining WordPress to become a better journalist, which is also fair. That works as well. Okay, Miriam, thank you for joining. Can you just tell us a bit about yourself? Just tell us your name, what it is you do, and why you chose WordPress web design. Smith, would you like to say something? Okay, all right. So in the absence of no other statements, I feel we should get started. All right, so quickly, a recap of what we did last week. One of the things that we really did last week was that we went over what web design actually is. Now, one of the things that we said web design is that web design is the ability to create websites, but not just to create websites, but to create websites with users in mind. If you're just making websites, anybody can make a website, but you need to be intentional when you're making a website. All right. If you're asking me, okay, I should make a website for you, I can do that. But I need to be sure that people who are following your business or your customers can actually benefit from this website. That's the whole point of being intentional. And that's where users come in. So now, when it comes to web design, there are different kinds of users that you can have. And that was one of the assignments that I gave last week, but we're just going to recap it this week. Anybody can be a user, but what are the different kinds of users that we actually have when it comes to web design? All right, so the first question I'm going to ask the house, everybody has to give me an answer, is what was the last website you visited and what did you do there? That's going to answer the question of the types of users that we have. So what was the last website you visited and what did you do there? So let's start with Smith. Smith, would you like to say something? You can type it. Okay. What was the last website you visited? Okay, you visited GG. Okay, so what did you do on GG? Jumia. Okay, GG Jumia. Okay, what were the things you did there? Source for products. Okay, now as a window shopper, or did you actually buy the product? Okay, so while we're waiting for your answer, in terms of e-commerce websites, because GG and Jumia, okay, price difference. Now that's price comparison as well. That's also great. Now, in terms of GG and Jumia, one of the things you need to understand is these are e-commerce websites. And when we talk about commerce, we're talking about buying and selling. All right, buying and selling is what goes on any e-commerce website. So the kinds of users you can have on that platform is you can have users that their website is catching ads. Okay, you love how it looks. Okay, so that's great. But in terms of users on those kind of websites, the first types of users you can have there. Smith, please, can you mute your here? Okay, so the first type of users you can have on every e-commerce website are the buyers. The buyers are the most important personalities on every e-commerce website. So the buyers are the ones that actually buy the products that the customer or your client is selling. So that is the first type of user we're going to talk about. Now, also on GG, you spoke about price difference. You went there to compare prices. Now, just like in every regular store, we have people who buy and we have people who window shop. They go to the store, not necessarily to buy, but to just compare prices and all of that. Now, those are the ones who actually window shop. That is also another type of user that you can find on an e-commerce website. So you have to cater for those two types of users. Now, for the buyer, it is your job to make sure that the buying process is as straightforward as possible. There are websites that you go to and you keep on clicking different buttons before you actually check out. They may take you to several different pages. But there are some websites you go to, in the click of 2 buttons or 3, you're already checking out and you're done. So it's your job to make sure that the user finds it easier to actually purchase goods. Now, in terms of window shopping, whenever you're dealing with window shoppers on an e-commerce website, it is your job to make sure that every product you put entices them to actually make up their minds. Some of them go on the website, not necessarily to buy anything. They just want to feed their eyes. Now, you need to make sure that the product pictures are very good, the quality is good, so that they might actually be convinced to actually want to purchase those products. All right, so thank you very much, Smith, for that contribution. Yomi, please, can you tell us the last website you visited and what you did there?
Yeah. Okay, I visited CNN this morning.
CNN. Okay, what did you do
Yeah.
there?
I was just trying to check some news there this morning. Some
Okay,
news
so
this morning.
okay, that's fantastic. So the third type of users that we have are the readers. All right, people go to certain websites to read certain information, get knowledge. All right, you're the ones that get information. Now, when you're handling those when you're trying to make sure that people who come to read are actually satisfied, you need to be sure that the fonts are perfect. There are many fonts out there, but there are fonts that are perfect for news reading. It is your job and your duty to do your research to make sure that you actually get the right fonts for your readers as well. So that's the third type of users that we have. Oluchi, please can you give us an answer as well?
Hi. Okay. Hello. I think it was Allison. Allison is a training site, so I was scouting for free trainings.
Okay, for free trainings. Okay, all right. So
Yes.
basically, you were getting information as well,
Yeah.
inquiring. All right. So
Yeah.
we have the inquirers as well. Inquirers as well. This is another group of users that you have to, cater for. There are some websites that you go to and you end up not getting any piece of information from there. It's your job to go there and get certain pieces of information. You probably want to get their number, their emails, or you want to just find out how many courses they have, but you end up going there and you get lost in the whole process, and then you just lose your way. It happens a lot of times, so it's your duty to also make sure that you cater for inquiries as well. All right, so Miriam, I don't know if you're online as well. Would you like to share, tell us, give us an answer as well?
Okay, I visited LinkedIn this morning. I
LinkedIn.
tried,
Okay.
yes, I tried to check my connections and things I've posted before, and then
Okay.
try to post something this morning too.
Okay. So those are LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Those are social platforms. All right. It's when you go on those kind of platforms, the list is endless as to what kind of user you end up being. You go from posting to. We're also going to talk about the social platform as well. It's very bulky, so we're going to pick a whole day for it. All right. So let's get started with WordPress. All right. So one of the first things that you need to do when you want to start working with WordPress is you would need a local host. That's what we call the local host. Now, the local host is what allows you to work on websites outside of using your internet connection. So with the local host, I can design any kind of website I want to design without having to use internet. I may just use internet basically to download one or two things, plugins, or a theme. But basically for the design and the structuring, I don't really need internet. That's the benefit of using localhost. All right, so one of the websites that you need to go to is localwp.com. So let me just share my screen. One second. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to share the whole tab because I'm going to be working on a lot of websites, a lot of tabs. So can everyone see my screen? Or can anyone see my screen?
I can see
Yes,
it.
I can see it.
Okay, all right. So before we go to LocalWP, but you can just quickly go to the website. It's localwp.com. Or you can just Google LocalWP and then it's going to take you the first search. This is LocalWP. This platform is what is going to allow you to work offline on your WordPress website. It's always best to use a laptop, but phone might be a bit problematic. So LocalWP, the first thing you have to do, let me just show you how to run LocalWP because you have to install one or two things. So the first thing you have to do is you have to create an account. So once you have created your account, you include your first name, your last name. It's going to ask you for your details, your data. So you can include your first name, your last name, and you can put your email as well, put your password, and then confirm your password. Once you've done that, you can create your account. So the moment you create your account, it's going to download instantly for you. It's going to download instantly. And once you're done, you can also come to the download button and also choose your platform. So you can just basically choose Windows. So when you choose Windows, it's also going to still ask you for your details as well. So once you've done that, and you actually download, once you click on this button, it's going to download now. I already have an account, so it might be a bit problematic for me to install. So I don't know if we would like to do that now or after the class. Anyone is fine, but this is basically what we need to work offline. I can also send you a video on how to do it. The video is ready. I just need to get approval to send it to the WhatsApp group. So if you have any challenges, you can always let us know on the WhatsApp group. So it's localwp.com, and it's going to give you a very fantastic and amazing appearance. All right, so let's go to a website, basically. Let's get started with how a website works. Now, one of the things we talked about last week was the various parts of every website. Now, every website is, if I'm moving too fast, please be sure to pull me back, because I know the first class I might be a bit in a hurry because I want to finish everything we've done, and then we now start breaking everything down into parts slowly. So basically, we talked about the different types of websites that we have, different parts of websites that we have. And we said that the first part that we have is called the header section. Please, I also like to ask a lot of questions randomly. So please, if you, just to be sure that you're following. So I don't know if I can ask my first question. Oluchi, please, can you tell us the different users that we talked about today? For the sake of Ibrahim, who just joined us, can you just tell us the different users that we have?
Okay, we talked about inquirers. We also talked about social platform people, and we talked about people who seek for information, I think.
Yes, that works too. And so basically, just a recap. Does anybody else want to help out before I give a recap of what we talked? Yomi, would you like to give us an answer?
Yeah, I think we talked about different websites like the e-commerce platform. So we also
Okay.
talked about platforms where people go to get information.
Okay. Okay, so in terms of the e-commerce platform, we talked about buyers, for example, as one of the users. We talked about buyers. People go to the website to buy things. We also talked about in e-commerce, still on e-commerce websites, we also have sellers. There are people who actually sell. We have buyers, we have sellers, we have window shoppers. All of these are under e-commerce platform. And we also talked about readers as well, people who go to read news, information. The readers are also the information gainers, all right? It's one thing for you to read. It's one thing for you to create content for the purpose of reading. It's another thing for you to create content for the purpose of understanding, all right? So those are two different things, readers and the information gainers as well. So we've talked about roughly about 5. So first assignment, I'm going to give the assignment again. Just go and try and ask yourself a question. What was the last website I visited? You can ask people around you. What was the last website I visited? What did I do on that website? So you can ask 5 people each. So that's the first assignment. Ask 5 people, what was the last website they visited and what did they do there? That is going to give you your assignment for next week. I'm going to ask everyone for their assignments. All right, so before we move on to the website, part of the website, we have some newcomers, Abiodun and Ibrahim. Welcome, guys. Can you just briefly tell us about yourself? I just want to know you and why you chose WordPress, as this is going to help me to assist you in learning. All right, so can we start with Ibrahim? How are you doing? Can you tell us about yourself? Or Abiodun, anyone can speak up first.
I'm Ibrahim Oladimeji.
Oh, nice to meet you.
I'm a freelancing enthusiast. So I like to know how to use WordPress to build websites, especially for e-commerce. So and everything that has to do with WordPress, because I've been finding it a little bit difficult to build websites using WordPress.
Yeah, working with WordPress. Okay.
So yeah, exactly.
Right.
So everything that has to do with it, I want to learn it. So that I am here. And I believe this place will be a very
Abiodun,
nice
can you tell
place.
us about yourself? Yes, definitely.
It's for me, at least to start.
Definitely. All right. Abiodun, can you tell us about yourself and why you choose WordPress? Okay. While we wait for Abiodun, let's move on. All right, so that we don't waste any more time. So basically, back to sharing my window. Now I want us to talk about the various parts of a website. All right. Last week we talked about this briefly, but for the sake of people who are just joining us today, we're going to go over it again one last time. So every website has various parts. All right. The first part is usually the header section. This portion of the website is always the first portion that you see whenever you open a website. So most times when you go on a website, you get to see the header section first. The header section is usually the portion of the website that has the logo of your website or of your company. So for example, we are on a burger website and we can see burgers here. This is the logo of the company. All right, this website has a header. This from burgers up until this cart icon, we have the header of the website. So it usually contains the logo, then it also contains a navigation bar. A navigation bar is just basically a container that contains specific links or quick links that take you to certain portions of the website quickly. So at the glance of the website, I can easily go to the shopping part of the website. I can go to the About Us, I can go to the pages. So this is basically the navigation bar. It helps you to navigate around your website quicker than, scrolling through and looking for where exactly it is you need to go to. And then usually we have a cart. So basically, we can design this portion of the website separately from, the whole website. So I'm also going to show you how to create headers. So apart from headers, we also talked about the hero section last week. So this portion is the hero section. Now, the reason why it's called hero section, yes, hero section is gotten from the word superhero. The reason why it's called the hero section is because it is usually that portion of the website that stands out. It's usually that, should I say, the most influential portion of the website, the most attractive portion of the website. So it's called the hero section. It is usually below the header section. Then we have the body of the website. The body of the website encompasses of many subcategories. All right, it encompasses of your products can be in your body, a newsletter can be in your body, anything can be in the body of a website. All right, so we're going to be able to create all of those things with WordPress. And then lastly, we have the footer of your website. This is just the portion that just has a quick summary of what your business or your brand is all about. So you can see contact us and all of these things. This portion of the website is majorly for the inquirers. So if I want to inquire on a website, I am an inquirer as a user. Most of the time, I will go to the footer of the website or the contact us for me to be able to find out specific details about a company. Like you can see here, it has the phone numbers, it has the social media links, it has the address, it has the working time, and it has the email address. All of these things are for the inquirer. So it's a very important aspect of your website as well. So you need to learn how to use all of these portions effectively. So like we spoke about last week, the local WP, the local host, is very essential when you're working offline. I want to believe many people have downloaded and installed it. If not, I'm going to send a video to the group so that we don't use this to waste a lot of our time. So I want us to actually get started with WordPress. So let's get started with WordPress. So if you're using localhost for the first time, or you've never really heard about localhost, this is an opportunity for you to do so. So this is localhost. Can anyone see my screen now? I just want to confirm.
I can't see your screen. can hear you, but I can't see your screen.
Okay, so it's taking some time to load. While we wait for it to load, okay, so while we're waiting for my screen to load, I also want to show you and introduce you to a little bit of HTML and CSS. So when you're working with, okay, it's still taking, let me just stop it and share something else. Sorry, 1 second. Just give me a second. Okay, so in the last class, we also introduced the class to a popular language called HTML and CSS. Now, HTML and CSS is a markup language. It's not really programming per se. It's usually a language. It's actually a language. It's a markup language, HTML and CSS. So we introduced the class to HTML and CSS, and we're going to do that again as well, just for the purpose of as many who are joining us today. So the language that we use is HTML and CSS when it comes to making websites. When it comes to building websites, we use HTML and CSS to do so. So this is a basic website that anyone can actually create. But just like any developer, you need to be able to have an idea of how to break down a website. I hope you can see the Burgos website now.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to have an idea of how to break down every website. What do I mean? Now, one of the tools that Chrome has given us is the ability to actually inspect a website. So whenever you're working with a website, you need to understand that a website is just basically good font, good pictures, and a good color combination. This is what makes up every website. If you scroll through this website from top to bottom, one of the things you see is good font, good images, and a good color blend. Like everything on this website, there is nothing that is outside all of this. It's usually just good font, good images, and a good color blend. Yes, some websites have fantastic animation. What do I mean by animation? For example, when you click on a button, I don't know if you can see this, the color changes automatically. Like once I hover over a button, it changes to orange. That's animation. So some websites have some other fantastic kinds of animation. For example, it may have a pop-up. The moment I hover on a particular image, it might become bigger. The zoom out and zoom in effect. Those are animations, which we're also going to talk about as the class goes on. So websites are just basically about those three things. You can write it down because it's actually going to follow you all through this course. Good pictures, good fonts, and also a great color blend. That is what actually makes your website beautiful. So one of the things that Chrome allows you to do is that it allows you to know certain pieces of information about every website. That's what it means to break down a website. So for example, if I want to know what color and font that was used for this word free delivery, all I need to do is right click on the word and you see the word inspect. So when you inspect on it, it's going to divide your screen into two. For some, it divides it into left and right. For others, it divides it into top and bottom. But either way, you can always redefine that by using this feature here, these dotted lines here. If you want it to be up and down, or you want it to be left and right, you can always change that with these dotted lines here. So now we've divided our screen into two. Now we need to pick out specific pieces of information that would help us build what we want to build. So for example, I come to this website, Burgos, and I like how they did, this particular part of their website. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect, let's say this word, for example, 15. I'll just right click on it and inspect it. So the moment I do that, it gives me these pieces of information here. So it shows me the font type that was used, the font family, that's font type, Nonito Sans. All of these things are just theory. We're going to actually practicalize it today. when we start building this structure that is here, we're going to actually build it. We're going to build the structure by ourselves. I'm going to show you how to build it so that you can practice with it. So it shows you the font family that was used, which is Nunito Sans. It shows you the font size that was used, 44 px. It shows you the line height, 72. All of these things might not make any sense until you actually practicalize it. You can also see the font color. So, oh, I like this particular color. I want my website to have this color. All you need to do is just right-click on it and inspect it. And it's going to show you the color that was actually used. So this portion of the website is called CSS. I'm hoping that we have a lot of time so that by the end of this course, we should actually just touch it briefly so that you can have a good understanding. Because when you say you're a web developer, there are so many things that are actually expected of you. And one of these things is good knowledge of HTML and CSS. You should at least have a very good idea. So we're actually going to practicalize some of these things in our projects. We're going to have to work with HTML and CSS occasionally. So if you keep on scrolling, you tend to see all the pieces of information that you actually need on this particular item. If I move to the next structure and I click on inspect, it shows me a new set of information. It shows me the set of information for this particular design. You can see that the font size here is 14px. The font family is still the same thing. Usually when you're working on websites, it's always best that you have some form of uniformity. All the websites should be similar. Like all the fonts that you use should be similar. Maybe you can make some changes in some specific places, but it's always best to work with just one font type for the whole website. So we're also going to put that into effect today as well. So it just shows you all the information that you need about a particular structure. So now that we've done that, we talked about the structure. I want us to actually get started with a proper website. Okay, so okay. I hope everyone is still with me. I'm just still very bothered about poor networks. I just hope everyone can still hear me.
Yes, I can hear you very well. I can even see the screen you're sharing.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so now this is the first screen you're going to see when you're working with your local host. So I'm going to show you a video, and the video is going to show you the process of installing up until you get to this point so that you can go over it and practice it yourself. If you have any issues as well, you can also run it by me on the group as well, on the group chat. So this is the first part of the screen, and the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to log in. Now, why is a login very important? Now, it is very important that whenever you have a WordPress website, you create a very good and strong password, because you want to prevent hackers as well. One of the things that you need to understand is the bigger your website becomes, the bigger the hackers or the probability of them actually hacking into your website. So this page is actually very essential because it's like a door that opens up to everything about your website. So if I have access to this door, I can basically change every content on your website. I've had to work with a particular client who came to us when she had an issue with hackers. So she said that her website was hacked, and apparently people had gained entrance into our website, changed the content of the website, and had put a clickable virus. So the moment anybody clicks on the website, on certain content of the website, it takes them somewhere else, and that could be a source of virus or not. So it's very essential that you always protect your website from hackers. So I'm also going to show you how you can do that for every WordPress website, just the basic necessary steps that you should take when you're working with WordPress and in terms of the security of your WordPress. So I've done that, and all I need to do is I need to log in. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the WordPress dashboard. Now, this is a very important aspect. It may look strange at first, but as time goes on, it's going to start making a lot of sense. When you start working with it a lot of times, it's actually going to start making sense. So this is what the dashboard looks like. But I just want to do my roll call again. So I want to ask everyone one by one, how many of us are familiar with the WordPress dashboard. Let's start with Ibrahim. Are you familiar with the WordPress dashboard? The one I just showed you now. Is this something you're familiar with? Have you worked with it before, or is it new?
Yes, I've worked with, but it's been a very long time. So that's why I said I have to learn it from scratch again.
You have to learn
So
it.
I'm
Okay,
familiar
that's
with
fine.
it, but it's been a very long
Okay.
time. Yes.
Okay. So Yomi said he has worked with it. Miriam said she hasn't worked with it. Oluchi, what about you? Have you worked with it?
I've not worked with it before. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay. So one of the things that we're going to be doing on this platform is we're going to group you guys so that you guys can come together and make amazing websites. So we have projects for the groups and we have projects for individuals. So I'm using this as an opportunity to group us into teams. So I'm going to take it down. Ibrahim and Oluchi are going to be the first team for now. As I'm asking the questions, so Ibrahim and Oluchi will be in the first team. Miriam and Yomi are going to be in the second team for now.
All right.
Okay, so what about you, Mr. Isaac? Have you worked with it before? Okay, while we're waiting for Isaac, Smith, have you worked with it? Does it look familiar?
I haven't worked with it before.
Okay. So I'm going to put Yomi, Miriam, and Isaac in one group.
Okay.
Then I'm also going to put Ibrahim, Oluchi, and Smith in another group. Then Dora, I'm going to lead you for your project as well. Okay, I can see Mr. Moses as well. Yeah, I think Mr. Moses has worked with it before from last week. I remember from last week. He has worked with it before.
Okay, sir.
We're going to wait for another person to join if we are complete. I don't want it to be 4-3. So if we have 8, then we can know how we're going to prepare accordingly. So Mr. Moses is still going to probably be in another group, a group 3, a possible group 3 for now. So okay, so now this is the WordPress dashboard. And it's a very beautiful place to get started.
You didn't mention
like you can see, the dashboard just has welcome to WordPress. Oh, sorry, Mr. Taiwo. I thought I did. That's the person I meant that was going to. Oh, I said Mr. Moses. I'm so sorry. Mr. Taiwo is going to be. I'm going to leave you for possible group 3 for now, because I know that you have experience with WordPress, correct? Yes, I know you have experience with WordPress. So I want to leave you for group 3. If we have more people, then we're going to put them with you as well. If not, I'm going to put you into one of the groups. I just want the groups to be ordered. Right now, we have 3 per group. We have Ibrahim, Oluchi, and Smith in one. We have Miriam, Yomi, and Isaac in the second group, group 2. I don't know I hope I didn't leave out anyone. Any other person? I'm definitely going to put Mr. in a group. All right, so the WordPress is a very good start in, and also the plugin use. Now, a plugin is that tool used in WordPress to give extra functionality to your website. Now, one of the things that has helped WordPress greatly is that they've become an open source tool. What that means is they've allowed people to make modifications to their websites. So now WordPress allows that anybody who has good knowledge of the programming language used to create WordPress, PHP, can actually design and create a theme or a plugin. So if tomorrow you decide that you want to actually monetize WordPress, you can start creating your own theme and actually get people to actually purchase those themes for free. So one of the websites I always encourage every WordPress developer to go to is Themeforest.com. So Themeforest.com is a website that allows you to see all the different kinds of WordPress websites that we have available to us. So if you're looking for any kind of website, any kind at all you need to do is to go to Themeforest.com, and it's going to actually show you all the different kinds of websites we have available to us. It's going to show you websites from for e-commerce, websites for basically any kind of website you're looking for. You can do that with Themeforest.com. Sorry, Themeforest.net rather. So the moment you come on the website, you can just search. And for example, I'm going to search because also this gives you an idea of how a good website looks. Because even before the end of the day, we're going to be doing good design versus bad design. All right, we're going to be checking out different designs, and we're going to see which one is actually good and which one is bad, and what makes what good, what makes what bad. So all of these things you can actually see. You can also preview it with the live demo feature. You can look at it. You can see what it looks like. Themeforest allows you to, see all the different kinds of themes that you can actually use on WordPress. So you can just scroll through all of it. You can see stunning pages. All of these themes are available on WordPress. So one of the things I'm also going to be showing you is how you can actually use a theme as it is. So all these beautiful things that you see here, you can use them. Your website can actually look like this with just the click of one button. And I mean, when I say one button, I don't mean one literal button. I mean that with just a few clicks of a button, you can actually get your website to look like any of this. But that's going to be the last stage of this class. Because one of the things I want you to learn is how to build all of these structures. This is how your website can actually look like. If you're using, I don't want to give it out yet, but at the end of the class, you're going to learn how to build this exact website that look like this exactly. But one of the things I want you to learn is how to build all of these structures independently. All of these things, you should be able to build them on your own. You should be able to build all of these things separately, all by yourself. So that's one of the benefits of Themeforest. Like now you can see the $sign. One of the reasons why I'm showing you Themeforest is because I want to motivate you. So when you have reached a certain level and you feel like you want to move from WordPress development to actually WordPress programming with PHP, and you actually want to start creating plugins and themes, you can actually sell your themes on Themeforest. All of these are the prices and the cost of all the themes that are available. You can see $59. You can see some $19, some $47. And these are themes that are bought by, okay, for example, we can see this particular theme has 49,000 sales. Sometimes I like to do the mathematics myself because it gives me that form of motivation. This particular theme costs $69 and it has been sold to 49,000 people. So if you can do that quick math, you can see how much it gives us. It gives us about $3.3 million. If I'm wrong, please, you can correct me, but that's what it gives us. It gives us about $3.3 million. So from making themes, and that's not going to be covered in this course though, and PHP programming is a different, aspect where you learn how to build themes and build plugins. So once you can do that, trust me, you can actually put your themes on this beautiful platform and people can actually buy and purchase your themes and you can make a lot of money from it. But that is just going to be for another day. So let me close this tab. So back to the dashboard. Now we spoke about themes and plugins. So the first thing that we need to learn about WordPress is how to move around the dashboard. So these are basically the navigations for your WordPress dashboard. These are all the things that you actually need when you're dealing with WordPress. So you can see that the first portion is your dashboard. So what the dashboard just basically covers is it covers your home page. That's where we are right now. This is the home page, and then updates. What exactly are updates? So when you install themes and plugins, one of the things that WordPress demands from you is that you update them regularly. So if, for example, I create a plugin today and the plugin just has the basic features of something, for example, as time goes on, it is my job as a developer to modify that plugin. So I'm going to be developing it and modifying it, and I'm definitely going to be creating different and newer versions. So it is my duty to actually make sure that as I'm creating newer versions, you that has bought my theme can actually decide to update it to the newer versions or leave it as it is. So there are some plugins that actually is best to leave them as they are, and there's some plugins that it is best to actually update them. So one of the things that the WordPress dashboard gives you is that it gives you this opportunity to update your WordPress website. So if you quickly click on this, it shows you all the things on your website that need updating. So for now, it's just showing me one. So it's usually WordPress that needs updating. So the current version is 5.9.1, and it's showing me, okay, it's a theme that needs updating. So it wants me to update this particular theme. So it's always going to show me as time goes on all the things that I need to update. So that's basically what this portion is for. So the next portion is posts. So when WordPress started, like I said earlier, WordPress started as a blogging platform. And because it started as a blogging platform, even up until today, whether you're using your WordPress to design a blog or not, WordPress has that blogging feature on their dashboard. So that's what basically this post is for. So when you click on all posts, it shows you all the blog posts that you have so far. If you click on add new, it gives you the opportunity to create new blog posts. So let's go to posts. This hello world post comes by default on any WordPress website. If I'm giving the opportunity, I'm going to give you an exam before you leave here. Not a serious exam, just an exam, couple of questions just to test your knowledge. And this is one of the questions that I love to ask. What is the default blog post on every WordPress website? It's usually hello world. So this post just gives you an opportunity for you to actually add a blog and add more blogs. Now, the first project you're going to be working on is actually going to be a blog. So we're going to be making use of this post page or this post feature on your WordPress dashboard. So we're going to talk about that in detail when we work on that. So also you have the opportunity to add a new blog. I'm going to show you how to do that when we start the project on making a blog, our first project. So the next portion is the media. The media is just basically what allows you to add or remove or delete pictures, videos, and anything content that is in media form. So majorly pictures and videos. So with this library, you can see all the media content that we have on our website. Right now, we don't have any. But if I want to add a media library, I can just come to add new, and then I can add any picture that I have downloaded or any video that I have downloaded onto my website. So the next portion of the website that is actually also very important are the pages. So when you're building pages, when you're building websites, one of the things you need to understand is you're dealing with pages. So you have to design every website page by page. So the pages gives you an opportunity for you to see and create all the pages that are on your website. So basically, when you come on a WordPress page, on a WordPress website, these are the two pages that come with it by default: sample page and privacy page. And you can just always view it. All right, so you can view the sample page. This is how the sample page looks like so far. All right, so it basically comes with your sample page and your privacy page. These are the things. So we've talked about the dashboard, we've talked about posts, we've talked about media, we've talked about pages. Now the comment section as well is just what works as well with your posts. What do I mean by works with posts? Usually when you have a blog post, it gives room for people to make comments, true or false, true. So now this gives you the opportunity for you to manage all the comments on your blog page. So what do I mean by manage? It gives you the opportunity to actually delete a negative comment. You can also approve comments on your comments page. You can do all of that. So let me just show you how that looks like. This is what it looks like. So it just allows you to, see all the ones. Now you can see the approved portion. Usually when you create a comment, you can set it to go to pending. So when it's in pending, it's your duty to actually move it to approve or delete it or, do anything, reply the comment and all of things. You can reply, you can edit it, you can, trash it and all of that with the comment section. So that's the beauty of it. Then now we're going to talk about appearance. But before we talk about the appearance, let's do a recap. So basically, we talked about the dashboard, the updates, we talked about the posts for blogging, we talked about the media for adding pictures and videos, and we talked about the pages for basically creating all the different pages of your website. Now, my question now is, what are the different pages of every website you've seen? What are the common pages that you've seen? This is my form of roll call again. What are the various website pages that we have seen on any website we visited? So this is open to the house. Anybody who wants to answer. Like, for example, we can see every website you see, you can see the home page. So which other website page can we see on our website?
About us page, contact us page.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo. Any other person? About us, contact us page. Those are two very common pages that we see on our website. Let me give you a hint. On this page, it also has a couple of pages as well. Okay, so I want to just hear from everybody actually. Oluchi.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear the last part of what you said. My network is giving me some issues.
So I was talking about every website has a couple of pages.
Okay.
And so that will help us to talk about us and contact us page. We have pages.
We have the logo page, I think, the logo, where you have the header or something like that.
So those are parts of the websites. So what we're
talking about
pages. Yeah, the pages. Let me show you, for example.
How about a gallery?
Eh?
How about a page where there's gallery? Like, depends on the site.
Okay,
so website that has a gallery page where you can check what
that's also possible. Okay, yes, you can also have a gallery page as well. All right, a page where you can just put pictures. Some people call it gallery, some people call it portfolio. If, for example, I'm running a website for an architectural firm, I actually have a portfolio, a gallery page that will just see all the things that we've worked on so far. So that also works as well. So if you see the Burgos page, you can see the shop, about us, contact us pages as well. All of these things are, the pages of the website. So when you're working on a website, for example, if I'm working on Burgos website, I have to create homepage first. Then I have to create shop page and create about us page. Then, other pages, you can see galleries here, like Yemi mentioned. And also we have the contact page as well, like Mr. Taiwo mentioned as well. So we have all these pages here that you must create when you're building your website. So on your dashboard, when you go to pages, you also have to create all of these pages one by one. So when you've created them, you have the list of all the pages here on this pages page, all these pages page. So that's basically what pages is all about. Then we also have appearance. Now we're getting started and we're moving into it slowly. So whenever we start a website, for example, we get a website job and we say, let's say, for example, a client comes to me and she says she wants a website for her hospital. All right. The first thing I need to do is I need to go and pick the right website theme that I can use for the client. So one of the ways that you can do that is you can come to Themeforest. You can come to Themeforest for inspiration. You can come to Themeforest to buy themes. You can come to Themeforest to find out, to do your research basically. So I can come to Themeforest and just type hospital. The moment I do that, it's going to show me all the various hospital themes that I have at my own disposal. So I can see all of these themes and I can use them as I please. So this is one way to go about it. Another way to go about it is to come to the appearance section and come to themes. So the moment I click on these themes, it takes me to a page that has all the plugins that are currently on my website. So by default, these three themes come with every WordPress website. But I don't want to work with these three themes right now, because if I come to here and I visit my site, let's see how my site looks like. Can you see how my website looks like? This is how my website looks like because of the theme that I'm using. If I switch to this second default theme, all I need to do is activate the theme. So the moment I activate it, it shows here as the first theme. That means it's working. All I can do is I can reload this page, and can you see it has changed? Why? Because I have changed the theme. So if I come to this third one and I activate, okay, we worked with this already. Let's work with this third one, and I activate it. It shows here, which means that it is active. Once it shows customized under, it means that it is active. The moment I refresh this page, can you see that it has changed? So the theme that I use is what is going to actually determine the template of my website. It's going to determine how my website actually looks like. So when you're working with themes, it's very important that you do your research very well before you actually pick a theme. So now let's add a new theme. So we want to add a new theme. There are different ways that you can add a new theme. One is by coming here to this add new, or coming to add new as well. Any of the two works fine. So if I just click on add new, it gives me the opportunity to actually search for a theme, or I can actually upload a theme. So as time goes on, we're going to be working with zip files. I'm going to show you how you can actually use a zip file to actually work with your website. So now this is the theme that we have. These are the themes that we have on board to use. So I'm working on a hospital website, for example. I can just come here and search for hospital. So all the themes that we have here are free themes. So when I come to the hospital search, it shows me a lot of different things that I can use for this particular website. So I have the luxury of picking a lot of free themes. So let's just pick one that actually looks very fine at a glance. Don't really bother about the content of the theme because we're going to be working with a builder now. I'm going to show you how to work with it, but just focus majorly on, how the color looks, how it looks. I like how this looks as well. This looks very minimalistic and very beautiful. So basically, if you're working with a hospital theme, all you need to do is just search for a hospital. If, for example, I'm working with a food theme and I want to create something for an eatery, for example, I can just search for food and it's going to take me to all the beautiful themes that we have here. So let me use Food Hub, for example. So the name of this theme is Food Hub. Any of you can also search for it as well. So what I need to do now is I need to install Food Hub. So when I install Food Hub, so for every theme to work, you need to do two major things. You need to install and you need to activate it. For any theme and any plugin, you must first install and then you activate it. So the moment you do those two things, the theme becomes the leading theme for your website. If you install a theme without activating it, it means that you have added it to your library, but it's not going to show on your website yet until you activate it. So if I refresh this, it's still going to show the same design that it was showing before. It's taking some time to load. Okay. Still taking some time to load. So it's going to take some time to load. Not sure why. Okay, so now it works fine. It has loaded. It's showing this, for example, the background is still the same. Why? Because we have only installed it. We have not activated it. But the moment you click on activate, what activate does is that it makes this the leading theme. So we can just come here and refresh and automatically, can we see that it has already changed the appearance of our website? Automatically, it changes the appearance of our website. So whenever you work with a theme, you need to be able to, switch themes. You need to do your research first. I know that now I basically just picked a theme and I just installed it. Usually when you want to pick a theme, it's best that you do one or two researches on that particular theme. So for example, I can just let me search for food again. The moment I search for food, I have the ability to actually preview it. I can preview. You have install and you have preview. So once I click on preview, it shows me what the theme actually looks like, at a glance. Now we've not worked on it yet, so it's still going to look very empty. It still looks very empty because we haven't worked on it yet. So it just shows you the blog and all of that. So now we have to start working on the theme. So we've spoken about plugins a lot of times, but what are plugins? I've said the answer a few times. I just want to see if any one of you is listening or heard me when I said what plugins are. What are plugins? Does anyone want to give me an answer to what plugins are?
Okay. Plugins, like you said, they make your website more functional.
Yes, perfect. Thank you
Only
very
achieve
much.
what you want to achieve. Yeah.
To achieve. Yes, they add extra functionalities to your website. They make it more functional. So basically, by default, um, WordPress is functional. We're not saying it's not functional. WordPress works. If I want to do anything on my WordPress website, I can do it. But what plugins do is that it just adds extra functionalities to our website. So now I want us to, work with a few plugins. So basically, when you come to plugins and you come to install plugins, by default, there are no plugins on your website. All right. Your website is working fine, but it doesn't have any plugin. But let's say, for example, I want to give my clients the ability to contact me via WhatsApp on my homepage. So when they scroll through the page, they should be able to click on a particular button that's going to take them straight to my WhatsApp page and text me straight from my website. Or I want to add my Instagram page to my website. I want it to show underneath. All right. Or I want something that can help me build my website easier or easily. Or I want something that can help me sort out everything that has to do with e-commerce. All I need to do is to come and use what we call plugins. So when you come to plugins and you click on add new, all you need to do is search for the plugin that you need to use. So again, this is where research comes in. Because one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to just start downloading random plugins just because you need them. You need to actually do some form of research. Now, I've done some research of my own before. So there are some plugins that I know that, they're better than some and whatnot and what is. So the first plugin I want us to work with is called Elementor. Because of our time, I just want us to work with Elementor Builder. So what is Elementor? Now, Elementor is a builder that just helps you to drag and drop your website. So one of the things that, one of the advantages of the open source nature of WordPress is that people now decided that, okay, let's make WordPress even easier for people who are looking to create websites. So they built what we call a builder. Like you can see, it says Elementor Website Builder. What it does is that it has it all. It has a drag and drop page builder, pixel perfect design, mobile responsive editing, and more. So it just basically allows you to edit your website in a very easy way. Like it gives you the opportunity for you to actually easily design your website just using the drag and drop feature. No need to code anything, no need to write unnecessary things. All you need to do is just learn how to use the drag and drop feature. So we're going to be using Elementor Builder to actually build this Bogos website. We're going to build all of the structures today before the end of this class. So let's basically look at, let me delete all these pages first. Okay, so hospital as well. So now the Elementor Builder, I want to first of all install the Elementor Builder. So like I said before, whenever you're working with every theme and every plugin, the first thing you must do is you must install. And the second thing is you must activate. If you install without activating, it's just going to appear on your library. It's just going to be on your website backend. It's not going to come into use. If you install without activating, it's only when you install and activate that it becomes useful on your website. So those two things is what actually makes your website, should I say, realize that these things are actually what you want to use. So anything that you activate is actually what your website understands that you want to be in use. So if you don't activate them, it means that you're telling your website, don't put them into use yet, just keep them for now. So you're just basically going to keep them for now. So right now it's installing. It may take some time to install depending on your internet connection and also the heaviness of the plugin or the theme or the demo you're importing. All right, so let's just install while we familiarize ourselves with this feature. So this is a feature that we're going to be building with our Elementor Builder. I want us to open the Elementor page before I start talking about it. I don't want us to talk about it just yet. So while we're waiting for it to install, let's talk about the other portions of your dashboard. So we've talked at plugin, we've talked about appearance as well, we've talked about comments, we've talked about pages, we've talked about media, we've talked about posts, and we've talked about the dashboard. Now the users. Now, this type of users are different from the website users I discussed earlier in the day. Although the types of users that cater for the ones we discussed earlier in the day that are here are called customers. So they just rounded them up into customers. So your user page allows you to work on setting websites with multiple people. So if, for example, I'm working on a particular website with Yomi and Oluchi and Taiwo, let's say I'm working on it with 3 of them, for example. Are they in the same group? Okay, they're not in the same group. I'm working on a website with 3 of them, for example. What I need to do is I need to create an account for each of them. So when I create an account, I can also determine what level of authority they have over the page. What do I mean? So if I come to So if I come to my users page, I can see all the users that are currently on the website. It shows here as only me, AKT, as one of the users of the website. So if I want to add a new user, I can come here or I can come here to add new. So when I click on add new, I can easily just add an extra user to the website. So it's giving me the opportunity to add an extra user to the website. Usually, it's not supposed to be this slow. Since I'm working with localhost, if I'm working on it without internet, it's going to be a lot faster, actually. I think it's because I'm working with internet, and the internet is not so fast. That's why it's taking time to load. But I'm glad that my internet is working fine. So it basically just gives us this opportunity to add more users to your website. So I can add as many users as I want. I can, add their names, their emails, and also the roles that they're going to perform on the website. So now I'm an admin on the website. So I have a general overview of the website. I have the opportunity to actually work on everything regarding the website. I can create all the things I need to create using the website. Since I am an admin, that's my role. There are other roles as well, and you also would have the opportunity to, work with users as time goes on. We're going to work on that. I don't know why my Elementor builder is taking so long to build. But while we're waiting for it, so that we don't waste any time, I want us to do a recap. But what have you learned today? What have you learned so far? Okay, let me start with Smith. Smith, can you just type it? You can type it if where you are is a bit noisy. What are the things that you feel you've learned so far in today's class? Or Miriam, would you like to also tell us as well? Don't be shy. There's no such thing as a wrong answer. You can just always, tell us what you've learned from users to the parts of your website. You can just let us know the things that you've learned so far. Okay, Miriam said she has learned fonts. What have you learned about fonts? Or what other thing have you learned apart from fonts? Okay, how to use colors. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's good. That's a good way to start. Oluchi, what about you? You can text or you can talk as well.
Okay. All right. Okay, I've learned that to create a good website, you need basically good fonts, good people. The dashboards I learned about hold on, the media. This is for adding pictures and videos. We can also go to Themeforest for inspiration when we want to choose a theme for the website you are building. A little bit about Elementor, which is the builder that helps you to drag and drop features on the yes. So
Okay,
that's
good.
that
That's a
I've
good
learned.
base.
Yes.
Learned a lot. Okay, what about you, Yami? What have you learned? You can text or you can also speak as well.
Okay, I've learned about parts of the website. So you talked
Okay.
about the header, that's where the logo is and the navigation bar. And also you
Okay.
mentioned that beneath the header is the hero section, which is the most
Yeah.
attractive part of the website. And also
Yeah.
there is the body and also the footer. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's also great. Great. You've learned a lot as well. Um, Mr. Taro, what about you? Have you learned anything new today?
Yes, especially under user, because personally, I've not always been going close to that area at all, because I believe I've any website that I want to build, I've been doing it all alone. If at all someone wants to assist me, I would just have to send the password and the username, to the person to help me out. But now I've learned that if I actually want to add
Yeah.
another administrator, a kind of sub administrator, to also make use of to have access to the dashboard, I can just go to user, click on add new, and put in the information of the person there. Thank you.
Yes, fantastic. That's good as well. Okay, so I'm going to ask Ibrahim and Smith again, but let's just talk about these users, in detail, in more detail. So basically, when we talk about the users, the user functionality, all right, like you can see here, it shows you all of this. This is basically what it is all about, this add user portion. So you can set a user's username. For example, like I said before, let's create an account for Yomi, or let's create for Oluchi. We can just come here and put her username here, which I'm going to let her know at the end of the day. Then you can also put her email. So you can see here it is required and is also required here as well. You can also put her email as well. I can just put o@gmail.com, but it's always best to put the email. I'm just putting it for today for test. And all of these other aspects are not necessarily important because they don't have required in brackets, so they're not necessary. So it means that if you don't put them in, nobody's going to, at the end of the day, query you or anything. Then we have this password functionality. What this password functionality does is that it can either allow you to generate a password. You can see here, it just keeps on changing the password. The more the times you generate it generates it for you. If you don't want to use this, you can easily just come here and put Oluchi 360 or something. So I can put it here, but you can see that it shows very weak. You can still end up using the website and confirm the use of weak password, but I always advise against it. Try and make your password as strong as possible, because then again, it is one of the tips that you need when it comes to preventing your website from being hacked. All right, so just make sure that your password is as strong as possible. When you make it as strong as possible, you have the ability to then, you have the confidence you need actually when it comes to your website being easily cracked down. All right, so you can also send the user an email about their account. So you can just, once you click on this, it should send you an email. But sometimes WordPress doesn't really have the ability to send, emails consistently. So you might actually need to use a plugin to help you send emails. That's where we have, like I said before, what plugins help you to add extra functionality to your website. So it just basically allows you to just send this, we have created an account for you, what is and what not, but it's not necessarily so important. I can always share that with you privately and personally as well, but you can always pick it up as well to keep it professional. So in terms of the role, there are different roles that you can actually have when it comes to building your website. So the first role here is subscriber, all right? Then we have the contributors, we have the authors, we have the editors, and we have the administrators. Now the administrator, for example, covers or is the one that is in charge of the whole website. Like, for example, I have access to all of these websites, like all the pages of the website. It's my duty to, oversee everything. All right. That is usually the main aspect. Like, Satabu spoke about having to share passwords with people, creating one account. That's one way to go about it, but it's usually not advisable, because sometimes you want to, if for example, I'm a developer and I work on different websites, I might not want to share my own personal password with you. So it's always important as an admin that you actually, at the end of the day, create a new password and a new account for each user. So it's always very important that you do so. So all of these things are very important when it comes to users, the all users, the add users, and even the profile. I don't want to save yet, but the profile basically just allows you to, change the appearance of your dashboard. If I want to work with a new color, for example, now you can see that by default, it shows me this blue, dark blue, and all of that. If I want to work with a different color, I can always, switch colors as well. So like that's one of the things that you have the ability to do with WordPress. WordPress allows you to edit a lot of things. You can also come here and also change the profile of your user. I can change my email back to my original email. And also if I have a website, I can put it there as well. I can do a lot of things with the profile page. It's just basically about you, the user, and how you can just, you can change the picture. These are usually used by really big organizations that use WordPress. One of the websites that is one of the big organizations that actually use WordPress today is Disney. I think Disney uses it for their blog. Most blogs out there actually use WordPress, but Disney actually uses it for their blog. It's a very big company, but they still use WordPress for their blogs, right? A lot of people also use WordPress for normal websites as well. All of these things are very important when you're doing. So you can, you can have all of this more in detail when you're working in a very big organization that uses WordPress and they have a lot of people working on the website. All of these things are also important. Then tools as well. This is another portion that I know a lot of people run away from. The tools just allows you to see some of the basic things about your website. You can see the site health. You can see you have the ability to import and export a site. So for example, let's look at the site health as well. So you can see the status of your website. You can see here, it shows site health status. The site health shows critical information about your WordPress configuration and items that require attention. All right, so you can see here the recommended improvements. It shows you here that you should actually remove any inactive theme. So the moment you're not using a theme, you should remove it. Now, one of the ways that we remove themes is by using what we call cPanel. So hopefully before the course ends, I'm going to show you how to use cPanel. Because one of the things you need to learn is how to work on an actual project. So I don't know if that is going to be catered for, but we're going to find a way to work on actual projects so that we can have an idea of how cPanel works. We can all access the cPanel, because the cPanel is actually one place that I know that a lot of developers run away from. So also it shows that your website is running an older version of PHP, which should be updated. So it gives you advice on all the things you need to do. All right, it shows you all the things that you need to do. So PHP is a programming language used to build and maintain WordPress. Newer versions of PHP are created with increased performance in mind. So you may see positive effect on your site performance. The minimum recommended PHP is actually 7.4, but right now on localhost we're running on a 7.3.5. So they're just advising us that if you want the best, we should actually upgrade. So lastly, we see that one or more recommended modules are missing. So we can see this as well. PHP modules perform the tasks on the server. All right. So basically, all of these things just gives you an idea of some of the things that you need to do. Now, you also need to take note that this is a local host. All right. So some of these things might apply here, but when you're working on a real website, you might not really see all of this as a problem. It might show that you're good to go because some of these things can be achieved on your normal website, WordPress website. So this is just all about your site health. It just gives you an opportunity for you to be sure that your website is in good working standard, and you also have the information. I always advise my students to always learn to, just learn to play around with the dashboard. Just learn what everything is. Don't be too afraid to go anywhere, because at the end of the day, there's nothing for you to be afraid of. All right, so we have available tools. Available tools is most times, we don't really have a lot of tools in our available tools. But like you can see here, we have a category and tag converter. It just helps you convert a category to a tag and a tag to a category. It's not really necessary, because there are other ways, there are other tools we can use outside of the ones that WordPress gives to us that we can use to achieve this. Then we also have the import website and export website. So if, for example, I want to import a demo. Now, like I said earlier, this is going to be like the last thing we're going to talk about, because I don't want us to start working with importation of demo. It's going to make a lot of us very lazy, and we're not really going to understand the principle. We're just going to run to this method. So import and export, we're going to talk about it when we start talking about importation of demo and exportation of demo. So we also have the personal data, importation and exportation, and then to delete your personal data. You should never delete your personal data unless you're sure that that's what you want to do. So it just works in line with your users as well. Then the settings. The settings is also another important aspect of your WordPress website. So in settings, there are so many unimportant rows or pages. Like when I say unimportant, like there are pages that if you don't work on, the website is not going to be affected. But when it comes to settings, the first thing that you should learn is when you get a WordPress website, the first thing that you see is your site title is usually WordPress. Now I set it to sourcing, and the tagline is usually just another WordPress. So what this means is that if I visit a website, for example, 1 second, let me just quickly check my plugin so far. Let's see Elementor download. I just want to download my Elementor builder on this page. Okay, so if I come to my settings, if I open the page, we can see that this is the page that we're building. So just at this portion, we can see this tagline. So it's called a tagline. We can see just another WordPress site. So it shows the name, the title of the website, source in, and it shows just another WordPress website. So this can be controlled with these two statements on your general setting. There's also another portion of the website that you can change it in customize, which I'm going to show you much later in the course. But you can also change it here. So if I want to change it from that to empowering Africans in tech, or something, that I want to. The tagline is very important when we're dealing with SEO. It's what we call search engine optimization. What this means is that it allows you to take a, it allows Google to actually recognize your website with some of the keywords that you use. So for example, I can do a tech academy, or if I want people to search, people who are searching for certain things, they would find, Google would help us recognize our website as what they're looking for with some of these important SEO tools, like your tagline, this empowering tech or empowering students or certain things. These keywords is what's going to prompt Google to actually show your website on the search whenever somebody searches for something. So I want us to, okay, so now our Elementor has installed. So like I said before, we must install and then we must activate. So after I've installed, I need to activate it as well. So it's going to activate just now. And like you can see, when we first started, plugins was empty, and now we have the Elementor builder here. So we're going to move into the next phase of the training, but I want us to take a little break. I want to take a little break because I don't like plenty talking. It can make the class very boring. It can make it, very uninteresting. All right. So Ibrahim, can you hear me? There, I'm not asking any question. I just want to get to know you. I feel like you've not
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, nice to meet you, Ibrahim. Have you introduced yourself to the class?
Yes, I've done that.
Okay. Sorry. What do you do? I don't think I heard that.
Yes, I said I'm a freelancing enthusiast, so I
Okay. You're a freelancer.
want to
Okay,
learn.
nice. Okay, to learn. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about monetizing our
Yes.
skill. Let's talk a little bit about monetizing our skill. So now, one of the things you need to understand is websites is websites anywhere in the world. One of the things or one of the benefits for me is that I have been able to go out there into the world and I have been able to network with people. One of the people I made websites for in like 2018 or so is a public figure, Ike Diogu. He's a basketballer actually. He's a Nigerian basketballer, but he was in the NBA at some point. He was in NBA and he used to play basketball. He was captain of Nigerian basketball team. I think he has retired now. So I built a website for him in like 2018, and that was like the first big client I ever got. How did I get the client? Instagram. So a lot of people say, oh, Instagram is just a fun place to go to check pictures. I used to go on Instagram and sometimes I used to just DM people who are, kind of public figures, I just try my luck. Oh, I build websites. Would you like to build a website? And I remember, reaching out to him and he was like, okay, fine. He wants to build one. We talked about it. I think at the time he was in China. And when he came to Nigeria, he was at a cool hotel. He said I should come for a meeting. I went for a meeting, and there and then I got like $500 from the job. Now, at the time, yes, you might say, oh, $500. Is it big? Is it small? It's relative. Does he have the money? He probably would have paid more. But at the time, $500 was a lot to me. Why? Because you're paying me $500 for a website job. It was like the first $500 I ever got. So you too can actually make $500 from it. Now, I was motivated by that. And one of the things that it made me understand is that this is a skill that allows you to network. There's so many times where I go to a networking event, which you all have to start learning how to do. And, with just the words, I make websites for a living, I get into very good conversations with very good people. And I get to network with them, all right? I get to talk to them. I get to discuss with them. I get to interact with them. Not just about websites, but about other things. So even on the side, like for example, Oluchi talked about the fact that she works in a bank. Even as a banker, you can go for banking. I don't know if you guys have conferences or any kind of conference, and you can just say, oh, you meet people. It's a very good way to start a conversation. I used to be a shy person, so if I come and meet you, I don't really have anything to say. But I can basically come to you and say, oh, I make websites. And I made for a few people. I don't know if you actually need a website. And they say, oh, why will I need a website? You can now start telling them the benefits of having a website. All right. It can help your business. It can help create awareness for your business. Now, it helps you to interact with people. There are business owners in Nigeria that I have DM'd and have also wanted me to create websites for them. And at the end of the day, I have become friends with some of them. Like friends in the sense that, oh, I've created a website for them. And whenever I go there, there's a good communication, there's a good relationship I have with my clients. In the fact that I can go, I've had a client who has offered me free burgers before. I went there for an event and they gave me free burgers in the house. All right. I'm not saying I like food, basically, so it was a good motivation for me. But basically, it helps you to network greatly. It helps you to reach out to people. Now, secondly, I've been on Freelancer for a while. I've been freelancing for a long time, and sourcing also gives you the opportunity to do that as well. The moment you learn a skill, you can create a gig and you can do all of that. So I've been doing that as a freelancer on a lot of websites, and I decided to set up my own company. I decided to employ a few people, a few hands, about 1 or 2 hands. And, with this skill, basically with WordPress design, that's what I started with. I was able to hire a few people and we were able to create websites for as many people as we could. Besides, train as many people as we could. But basically, you have the opportunity to do all of these things as well. You can set up your company. It doesn't have to be very big. It can be very small. All right. You can do this from the comfort of your home. One of the things about the digital skills you learn is that you don't have to physically be present before you can actually achieve or work or do anything. You can actually have a virtual office. All right. And you guys can basically just meet online. You have the ability and the opportunity to do that. So it's one of the benefits of this course, and one of the things that you need to start learning how to do from now. So even if you feel like, oh, I don't really know how to monetize it, you can even start from Instagram. All right, you can DM people, you can reach out to people. There are lots of people who I have DM'd. The person who I actually learned how the concept of DMing from, actually DM'd so many people, and he has worked with so many popular people today. He has worked with Bovi, he has worked with all through DMing. This was in like 2018, 2017 when he started. He was DMing people, and he has worked with so many public figures. And so I got the opportunity, I learned that, and I was able to implement it as well. And I've also worked with a few people as well. Trust me, whenever you go out there and you're like, oh, I made a website I make websites for a living, and they're like, oh, okay, you do. And then you say, oh, I made a website for this public figure or that public figure. It's a big deal. It's not necessarily a big deal, but like people want to, they believe that there's something special, about you for you to actually have worked with them. So it's all about building your portfolio, building your skill, learning, staying motivated, and, earning as much as you can. With WordPress websites, you can make as much as the sky is the limit, really. The sky is basically the limit when it comes to WordPress websites. The minimum you can make is like, let's say 50,000 naira, and you probably won't spend up to 10,000 naira. You can finish the website in one day if you're very good at WordPress, if you're very fast. That's one of the reasons why I love WordPress over, the development, because with a WordPress website, if you come to me and you say, oh, I want a website for my business, and you're not ready to break the bank, I can create a website for you in a few days, and I can get good money in those few days, and I can move on to the next one. So once you have a good knowledge of all of these things, it gives you the perfect opportunity to monetize, the skill. You can build a company out of this if you want to. You can build anything out of this if you want to. So I hope in these few points of mine, I have been able to convince as many people as possible. So who's ready to monetize the skill?
Me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Taiwo. Mr.
Likewise, do I too.
Mr. Ibrahim as well. All right, we're going to monetize the skill. Don't worry. From the beginning until the end, we're going to monetize it. Miriam as well. Thank you. So that's the full house. Smith as well. I saw your comment too. He's ready as well. So we're going to monetize this skill greatly, and we're going to work on projects. Everybody, you're number one. Yami's number one. Thank you, Yami. So also, please, for us to do this now, it's going to be very hard. Not very hard, but when I mean hard, it's going to require discipline. One of the things I like to do is I like to monitor everybody, because I want to make sure that you are actually working. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take each person to learn, but people are different with different paces. I don't mind moving with your pace. All right. So you need to learn that don't rush yourself, but also rush yourself. The faster you learn, the better. All right. So if you can learn as many things as possible, and you have reached the stage where you can build websites for anybody, I will follow you with your pace. All right. But one of the things that is very important is that you need to learn how to build websites. You need to start practicing on your own. It's not just about every Saturday we come together and we discuss this and that. Sometimes it's important that personally, you start to build your own, you start to train and start to work on certain things. You can go on Themeforest and start to look out for specific designs and start learning, oh, I like how this design works. I like the blend. I like you just start picking up different things from each of these ones. Trust me, the job opportunities are out there. All you need to do is just learn the skill first, package yourself right, and you can even make money on your own self and have the 9 to 5 on your own. So we're going to be learning all of these things step by step. So you can also learn HTML and CSS. Just start picking up 1 or 2 things from HTML and CSS. start picking it up. I really hope we have time. I'll try and show you the basic of HTML and CSS. All right, so you just start picking up little things from HTML and CSS. The moment you pick it up small, like the bits, it encourages you to keep on pushing. So don't go a day without working on WordPress. It's going to tell, trust me. The more you practice, the more your work becomes even better. So I hope I've been able to ease your minds from all the talk we've been talking since morning, because it's time for us to start designing structures. Okay, so back to my screen. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Just let me know when you can see my screen.
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so still on our local host, one of the things we did just now was that we just uploaded a plugin called Elementor. Now, I want us to try and design something fantastic with Elementor. This is what we're going to design. We're going to use the inspect function, and we're going to design this particular feature, and we're going to make it as easy as possible. So one of the things I said is when you're building a website, you're basically building different pages. So different pages is what makes up a website. All right, so the about us, the contact us, the home page, all of these pages, you must first of all build them independently before you now join them together as one website. So the first place we usually go to is our pages. So when you go to pages, you can click all pages, and then I want you to come to add new, or you can come here and click on add new. So the first page we're going to build is the home page for our food website. So you can click that, and the title of the page is very important. So just put home here and publish. Now you must learn to save, you must learn to publish. All of these things will not take effect unless you publish it. So now that we've done that, I want us to have a look at what our website looks like. So edit with Elementor. So when we click on that button, edit with Elementor, it takes us to the Elementor builder. So this is the edit with Elementor builder. So now, when you look at the edit with Elementor builder, I don't know if you guys have seen websites recently, but one of the things that, a lot of websites don't have anymore is this portion of the website, which we didn't talk about. We talked about the header, we talked about the hero, we talked about the body, we talked about the footer, but we did not talk about the sidebar. Now, this is a sidebar, but a lot of websites don't use sidebars anymore. It's all in the past. Not really in the past per se, but like most times, it's not really a very common feature anymore. Just a few websites have sidebars these days. So one of the things we need to do is we need to eliminate the sidebar. So we have to go back to pages. So we can just go back here or come to your settings and then check all pages. So the moment I click on all pages, you can see our home is already here. So when I come to home, I can just click on edit straight up. So once I do that, I can come to this section, this sidebar of the page. I want to remove the sidebar. So you have pages and you have blocks. So in these pages, you can come to templates and you can change it to Elementor full width. So what this is going to do is that it's going to make Elementor, don't forget to update. It's going to make Elementor the whole page. So when you do that, you can come back to edit with Elementor. So what we want to do now is we want to create a structure. So now can you see that our sidebar is gone? It's just the Elementor. This is the Elementor. This whole thing is the Elementor page. And we have this portion of the website. So now the first thing I want to teach everyone in this class is what we call structures. Now structures in Elementor can be a bit tricky, but if you pay attention, it's going to be very easy. So now every portion of this website has a structure. All of these things on this website are structures. All right, if you come to Elementor quickly, you see this position, this plus sign shows select your structures. So you have the ability to pick any structure that you want from here, from select your structure. So the first structure that we see is a one structured structure. It's a one structured structure. I say one, that's how the structure is actually designed. It just has one structure. Then we also have structures for 2. We have structures for 3, structures for 4, structures for 2, but one is bigger than the other. This is also similar, but they're on different sides. We have structures for 3, but one is bigger than the other 2. And then we have all these different structures. So all of these different structures will help us to define our horizontal structure. Now, this may not make any sense, but let's use this as an example. So I hope everyone can see this particular page, the burger and the text beside it. Can anyone see it? That's what I'm sharing.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so now with this particular thing that we can see, horizontally, let's say from left to right, for example, how many structures do you think we have from left to right? You can see that this whole thing, this whole burger here is a structure. This burger here is a structure. It covers this particular place, this structure here. Then this position here as well is another structure. Then it also has an empty space beside it. So if we were going to pick a structure to represent this particular portion of the website, which structure do you...
It has 3.
It has 3. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. All right, so it has 3. So that's one of the things we need to know. So now it has 3 structures. So let's pick a 3-structured structure. I don't know how to put it. A 3, let's just call it a 3. Well, it has 3 structures. Okay, so 3 structured. So let's do a little more structure and just put space. Don't worry about this for now. Let me just do this so that it doesn't look, I don't want it to look weird. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so that's fine. So now we can see that it has 3 structures now, just like this one. So the first thing we need from this is we need the picture. So let me inspect this image. Okay, so this is the HTML. The HTML usually contains the image, and this is the CSS. So if I want the picture, I can just come here and click on it. And I have the picture. So I can just save, I want to save the image. So let me save it as burger 1. Okay, I've saved it. So it's saved. Okay, so picture is the first structure. So let me come back to these structures. So it has 3 structures. We've already gotten the pictures. Now, within these 3 structures, we have, or within this Elementor builder, we have on the left side, this portion, which contains all our widgets. Now, widgets are just the features that we're going to be using. So the content, like the image you are going to use is a widget. The image structure is a widget. The heading is a widget. Everything that we are going to use on this website, we're going to use widgets to basically build our website with this builder. So the left side contains all the widgets. Now, the first widget we need from this is an image. This is an image. So we need an image widget. So a widget is just the structure of what it is that we're trying to put on the website. So all you need to do is just drag and drop. Can you see how easy it is? So the moment you drag and drop this particular feature, all you need to do is just click on this and you have the opportunity to edit it. Now, this takes us to our media library. Now, I think it was Oluchi, when she gave us a recap, she talked about the media and how the media actually works, or how what the media is actually used for. So the media is just basically used for putting any form of content into our website. So let's come here and choose an image. So you come here and then we just select, we go to our downloads and we select the one that we just downloaded now. So we insert the library into this portion of the website. So instantly it comes here to this portion of the website. So we've handled the first structure. But if you notice, it's still not perfect because here it looks very big and mighty, but here it looks too small. But sometimes we're going to have to make mistakes for us to get it right. So now let's talk about the second structure. Now within the structure that we can see here, from left to right, this is structure number 2, right? This one has specific structures from up to down. So we know we talked about this being one structure, this being one structure, and this being one structure. So now let's break down this second structure. It has how many structures do you think this middle structure has from up to down? Would anybody like to answer? How many structures do you think he has from up to down? Okay, Miriam says 2. Would anybody like to try again? Okay, just for the sake of time, let me just go over this. Okay, so now, basically...
Like 5, that's 5.
It has 5.
I think it has 5.
Correct, it actually has 5. Because when you look at it, for example, this beef, when you're trying to differentiate structures are different when all the features, like they don't have, for example, this beef, this big burger, and this text, they're all texts, but they're all 3 different structures. Why? Because they all use 3 different patterns, 3 different fonts, 3 different arrangements, 3 different font size, font heaviness, and all of that. The beef is totally different in terms of appearance from Big Burger, and it's totally different from this. So these are 3. Then this is also another 1, and this is the last one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this, even though that this text is 2 lines, because they are similar, we are taking them as one structure. So it actually has 5 from up to down. So here we have 1, but in the middle, we have 1, 2, but inside that 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have a space. So let's try and create this particular structure into our Elementor builder. So like we agreed, it has 5. So we want to create the same 5 inside this particular structure. So we're going to use this inner section, and we're going to drag it here. So what the inner section does is it allows you to create an inner section inside the structure. So because of how we want our structures to be, our structures are just 1, 1, 1. Then this one has 2, and this one has 2. So the first one we need should be 1. So we're going to delete this particular second one. So we just want this one. So we're going to take out the second one. So we just right click on it and delete it. So instantly the inner section becomes 1 instead of 2 side-by-side structures. So now all we need to do is we duplicate it, 1, 2, we duplicate it again, that's 3. And let's see how many we have. So we have 3 1 structures, and we have this 2 that are 2 side-by-side. So we have to bring in another inner section again. Please, if I'm moving too fast, please let me know. So I can duplicate this as well. So I've duplicated it. Then I can now duplicate the center. So it now gives me 2 structures. Then I can duplicate it again. Don't worry, we're going to go over it again and again and again until we get it. So this is the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, and 5th one. But the last 2 are side by side, just like this ones. We have them side by side, side by side. So we want to get the exact same thing onto our website. So what do? We inspect it. So you can see beef. We just inspected beef, and we've seen that the font size is 44px, line height is 50. Then the font text is, the font family is Nunito Sans. So let's go to our Elementor and click on the first page. So what we want is a text. So whenever you're working with text, it's always best to use heading. So you just drag this heading and drop it here. So when you do that, you can instantly just name this to beef. If you notice, it gives us a blue color, but our Burgos gives us a different color entirely. So we can look for the particular color because it's not really black. Can you see this is the color code of the color? So we can just copy this color. The color code is just basically the exact shade of every particular color. So every color has different color codes so that you can get the exact particular color. Because you know that, for example, blue, there are different kinds of blues. There's sky blue, there are different kinds of sky blues. There are different kinds of, for example, if you look at this highlighted portion now, it's sky blue. This is also a form of sky blue, but they're different. So because we don't want this confusion, we decided to create what we call color codes so that we can get the exact particular color that we want to use. So all I need to do is just copy this color code and come to my Elementor. So when I click on Elementor, every Elementor widget has 3 sections. It has a content, it has a style, and it has advanced. So like you can see, the style is what has the text color, typography, text stroke, and all of that. So because the text color we want is not this, we would actually have to replace it with our text font, with our text code, with our color code, sorry. So now we're using the same color that is being used on this website, all thanks to CSS. So we also want the font, which is Nunito Sans. You can see here, font family. So we come to our Elementor builder, still on beef, still on style, come to typography, and I want you to click on, just type Nunito Sans. So it takes you to Nunito Sans. Instantly, it gives you this font. But now check this one and Nunito Sans and our own, they're totally different. Ours is thinner than their own. So we can also come here and, look for the font width. So you can see here, it has font width. Now this font width is not canceled. If you scroll down, you see font width here, which is canceled. This is not the one that we're using. We're using this particular one, the one that is 800. So we have to come here. We're still on typography, and we scroll down here to weight, and we move it to 800. So instantly, it starts to take shape of what we're working with. So for now, let's leave our beef. Let's go to Big Burger. So we do the same thing for Big Burger. We right-click and we inspect it. So when we come to Big Burger, it still has this color code, which we're going to copy. Then also, it has the same font, and it has a different font width of 600. And also, our font size is 30. So we can just come here, click on it, and drag and drop heading. But that may be a bit stressful. So one of the things you can actually do is you can just come to this particular portion of the website and duplicate it. So when we duplicate it, we can just delete this one. So we've duplicated this. And since it's kind of similar but different, we can just always, make some required changes in our style section. We're still working with style. Now the typography is 600. And our font size is 30. But now the text that was used is Big Burger. So we can come to Elementor here and just come to beef. Instead of beef, come back to your content. That's where the text is, and just click on Big Burger. So you can see that it now has the shape of it. So our font weight is still looking a bit different. So we can come here. It's on 600. But for now, let's just leave it as it is now. So we have beef and we have our Big Burger sorted. So the next thing we need to sort out is this particular function. So what I need us to do is just inspect as well. And when we inspect it, it's going to show us the details about this particular feature. So let me be sure that I have the right function in mind. Okay, so I just need to scroll here. You can see the font size is 15. And then also the font family is different here. Here they use Lato sans serif Arials. So we're going to search for that. Their font weight is 400. So let's do the same thing. Let's copy their text and come back to our Elementor. So now for this third particular one, what we need to do is we drag this heading and put it here. So we can erase all of this and put in our text. Now it looks ugly because we've not styled it yet. So remember I said every Elementor widget has 3 sections: advanced, style, and content. So you come to your style, and the first thing you're going to do is your color. What is the color code? So before we do color code, let's do typography. So the typography here is 15. Sorry, the size is 15. All right. Then the weight is about 400 or thereabouts. Then the font that we used is Lato. We use Lato. And also the color code that we used on this particular website is this one here. So we can see the color code here. So we can come back to our Elementor, and this particular color code, we can select it and turn it to the actual color code that we're using. So we've done that for these three amazing structures. So now these are easy structures to do. They're straightforward. We can also modify it again with 400. Okay, we've done that already. We can also do the line height. All right, there's what we call the line height, 1.6. It's just basically the difference between both of them. Sorry, 1 second. It's just basically the difference between the both of them. The first line and the second line, that's the line height. So here they're using a line height of 1.6. So we can come to our Elementor and just select the line height that we used. So we scroll down here and we can come to this particular portion and click 1.5. So you make sure that it's 1 second. Okay, 1.6. Line height is 1.6. All right, so let's. So it's 1.6. All right, so another thing you need to pay attention to is the units that is being used. Now, if you notice here, they're using 1.6. They didn't state it, but it's actually 1.6 EM. If you see here, we have the two different units that are being used. We have PX and we have the EM. So those are the two major units that are being used for the line heights. So we basically have those ones here. So now we've done these three structures and we want to do the more difficult structures. But I want to ask, do we have any questions so far?
Sorry, are you pasting the code on the Elementor?
Okay, no, I'm not pasting the code on the Elementor. What I'm doing is I'm just getting the, if you come to the website, I'm just getting the information that is being used. Okay, for the only one I'm pasting is the color code. Do you mean the color code?
No, not really. I just wanted to confirm how those things are being changed once, because you just come to the code and later move to the Elementor, then we begin to see the effect. So I'm not too,
okay,
because the screen is small. Yeah, I'm using my phone to view it.
Okay. So what I'm doing basically is I first of all divided my website into two with the inspect feature. So I'm basically getting all the details. Now CSS is basically a very straightforward language. What CSS does is that it just basically tells you, okay, font style equals to sans serif, font color equals to blue, font weight equals to 600. That's what CSS does. It just does the feature and then the actual color or the actual feature, the characteristic and what it is. So it just groups it into two. Like, color, and then it gives you the color code. Font weight, it gives you the weight. Line height, so it gives you all of these things in twos. So what I'm doing is I'm just getting the pieces of information about a particular structure. So for example, let me start with beef. If I come to this beef and I click on inspect, the first thing I need from this beef is I need to know what font they used. I need to know the color of the fonts that they used. I also need to know the font weight. So for every text that I go about or I see, I need to know the font color, I need to know the font weight, and I need to know the font style that they used. All of these things are the three major things that are actually very necessary when you're dealing with anything text. So once I can get all of these things, I can put them on my Elementor. So let's take a different approach. So now if I come to my CSS, I can see that the font size used was 44px. So what I do is I'll just write it down, 44px. Then the font style used is Nunito Sans. So I got it from here, font family, Nunito Sans. So I can just write it down. The font color used is usually in form of a color code. So it shows me here that the color code is 443737. And also the font weight that is being used, you can see font weight is equal to 800. So the font weight is 800. So now I have all the pieces of information that I've gotten. So let's forget about this website and move to our Elementor. So let's assume I want to create a new design or a new structure. So all I need to do is I can come to my Elementor, have an idea of what they use. I'm trying to create that particular structure on my website. So the first thing I need to do is I need to use my widgets appropriately. So I would drag my widgets into the body of the builder, the body of the builder. So now that my widget has been dragged, it automatically opens these 3 sections for me to see. So I can view these 3 sections and make changes to this particular widget with these 3 sections that they have given me. So every widget that you use has these 3 sections. If, for example, I delete my text or I remove my text and I go to images and I drag and drop images, it still gives me these 3 sections. Only that the sections have different contents, like they have different things in them. For example, the style section for picture has this, but for text, it has text color, typography, and all of that. So it's different for different things. So now that I have my text, yes, all I need to do now is I just need to use all those features that I have gotten so far so that my text can actually come out as well as it came out on the website that I saw that I liked. So the first thing I got was the font color. So I came to text color and then I clicked on it, and you would automatically see a code underneath it. So all you need to do is just delete the code and insert your code. So the code that I got from that website was 443737. So automatically it turns to the color of that website. So now the text that I used on that website was beef, this beef. So I want to change this core content to beef. So what I need to do is I need to come to the content section of my text and just turn this to beef, all caps, because that's how it is on the website. So another important feature that I saw on the website was the font weight. The font weight that he used was 800. And then also the font family that they used was Nunito Sans. So what this feature is just basically doing for me is I'm just getting pieces of information about all these structures from my CSS so that I can implement it, on my Elementor builder. I'm not copying it from the code. I can actually just, pick all the structures here, view them, write them down in my notebook, and then come to my Elementor builder and start building them separately. But I want to do them side by side so that you can see how I'm doing each one as I'm doing it. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question before I move on? Before I round up? Okay, so in absence of no question, let me just round up this particular feature. So now we have this feature, we have these 3 features, they're all texts. All right, so we want to actually build these last 2. Now, one of the things you observe is that all of these features are not looking exactly like these features. Why? Because we've not started paying attention to details. For example, you can see that the difference between beef and burger is bigger than the one here. The difference between them is also bigger than the one here. Also, you can also observe that this particular text has just 2 lines. This text here has 2 lines, but our own has 3 lines. So all of these things we have to, one of the things you have to start learning as a WordPress developer, you have to start paying attention to detail. You must pay attention to detail. That's what differentiates you from the rest of the crowd. So we have this now, and one of the things, now this is the feature that might give us a little bit of the problem, but it's not necessarily a problem. So when we look at these two features, there are structures, and there are different ways that you can go about it. One of the ways you can go about it is you can decide to make this a four-structure structure, within this whole structure. Like you can make this icon 1, the text 2, this icon 3, and then the text 4. Or you can decide to divide it into 2 and make this one a button and make this another button. Because I want us to pay attention, because this is going to be very tricky. Because one of the things you must learn to do with WordPress is that you must learn to manipulate. You must learn to manipulate things into your own way. So that, because what people care about is the result. So if my end result looks like this, nobody's going to question me. But if I'm building a website and I cannot achieve this or something close to it, that is when you start to question me. So this is basically what I want to achieve. So one of the ways I can go about it is I can decide to bring in a button widget, drag it into this, and also edit this button. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I want my button to look like this particular place, this particular portion. So I need to make sure that I remove the green color that is there. I need to also make sure that the text looks exactly like this. So I can just inspect this, and I can see the color of the text that was used. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make this button transparent. Please, it's a bit tricky, but don't worry about it. Just pay attention. Now, the button must be transparent. So the first thing I'll do is click on this edit button, and then it shows me the 3 tabs that this widget has. And instantly, I have the opportunity to go to my style, and I want to change the button color. So here I have typography, I have text shadow, I have text color, and I also have the background color. So now my text color, let's make it black for now so that we can see it when we make. So the background color as well, this is background type and the background color. So the background color, I want to make it transparent. So I can just drag this particular button and just take out the color completely. So since I've done that, it just leaves me with this text color. But I want to get the exact color of text that they used. So I'm just going to copy this color code, come to my Elementor, come to my text color, and paste it here. So automatically, it gives me that color. But also, I want to have this particular text. Note that this is an icon, and you can't type it with your keyboard, so you have to import an icon to your button. The reason why I chose a button is because buttons allow you to add icons. That's why I wanted us to use this particular feature, like this particular widget, a button, so that all I can do is I can add an icon to my text so that it will be side by side. So let's copy this 345 kg, and we're going to take it to this content section. Remember that your text is usually in the content section. So we have it here, and we can see text here, click here. So I can just paste it here. And if you scroll down, you're also going to see icon. So this is still under your content for your button. You see icons. So when you come to icon, you can see icon library. Now, if you have the icons are usually in SVG, just like pictures are in PNG or JPG. Icons are in SVG. So if you have an SVG, you can upload your icon. But also you can come to your icon library and just browse for the specific, something that looks like it. So now this is what looks like this particular icon here. So all I need to do is just select the icon and insert it. And can you see, it gives me this same vibe. Now the only difference is that this one has a white, the internal or the inside of it is white, and then it has an outline of a gray color, but ours is gray. All right, we'll learn to work on that as time goes on, or we'll look for other icons that have that particular feature. But for now, let's work with what we have. So we've done this particular feature, but if you notice, this button is on this side, but ours is shaded more to the right. So what we can do here is we can shift the outline to this left. So the moment we shift the outline to the left, let's take this edit again. If you shift it to the left, it doesn't move. If you shift it to the center, it moves. So there's another feature that we can use to shift this to the left. It's in our advanced. This is not something I want to teach today, but I just want us to learn it so that you can have an idea of all the things you're going to learn. So what you need to do is just in your advanced, you have margin, just shift it. I'm going to teach you what all of these things mean. Margin, padding, and all the features that you can have. I just want to make the design almost similar. So now that I have this design and it's very similar to this other one, what I need to do, so how to duplicate, teaching us how to be. So I can just and so what I get. Then also my icons, I can come to my icon library and just search for fire. Since it's a fire, I have to look for something similar to it. There. Me, most similar design or look. Also, like I said, we are not paying attention to details. Lastly, are these two structures. So I hope everyone is with me. So I hope nobody's with that structure. And Erica. Okay. So finally, we have this last. So I said before, information we need from it. You can color code or to copy this color. Then we can see text, the font family is still Nonito font, Nonito sans. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So now we have this and we've designed this. So now for this last portion of the website, for this particular structure, we have the buy now. So one of the things we need to do now is we also need to, as usual, click on it. But I want you to notice something. This is how it looks. But the moment we hover on it, it gives us a different color. So all of this CSS should be able to tell us everything we need to know. So it already tells us the natural state or the natural color of the design. You can see here, this yellow background. So we can just copy this. And once we copy it, we know this is the color of the background. So the widget that we need for this structure is a button. You know, we use the button here, but it's not really showing because we just changed the background and all of that. But yeah, we're going to. Okay, sorry. Let me share my window. Oh, thank you very much. I didn't even know I was sharing my screen. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the last portion of the website, the button. But if you notice, this button has two different colors. The moment we hover on it, it gives us a different color. All right, CSS should be able to let us know all the colors that is being used on this website. You can see here, it shows you all the colors that we're using. These two colors. Sorry. What are the things we need from this particular widget? On this Elementor, what we need to do is we need to come here and look for the button widget like we did before. This is the button widget too, but this is going to be different because we actually want people to know that it's a button. Here, we just use the button because we wanted to use the icons that the buttons provide. But here, we actually want to use an actual button. We want people to know that it's a button. So we're going to drag and drop the button widget. So we have this, but this is not the color that we want. Neither is it the size. If you notice, this one is a bit bigger than we have here. So we can always change the size of our button in our content section. We can change it to medium. We can even change it to large. But let's work with medium because let's work with medium for now. So now we have this, but we need to know the colors that we used on this. Now, what is the first color? The background color. That's this one. So we need to get the background color. So now that we've gotten the background color, we can come here, click on it, come to style. Note that your colors are usually in your style. So I can just come to color and paste. So automatically it gives me this color. But I want it to give us this color as well. So this feature, we call it the hover feature. These are some of the terminologies that you need to start learning as a web designer, because automatically at the end of this course, you're going to become a web designer. So you need to start learning a lot of these terminologies. So now when I hover on it, I want it to give me this color. Now Elementor already provides that. So when you come to your style of the button, if you scroll down, you can see this portion that has normal and hover. So when you click on hover, what do you want it to do? When you click on normal, this is the color I want. But when I click on hover, what color do I want? So I can paste it here and let's give it a try. Can you see automatically it gives me a different color? I don't think this is the same color that is here. It's actually not the same, but let's just work with it for now. We can work on perfecting it later. So now it gives us that hover ability. Lastly, we also want to put the buy now, but let me just put buy now because of our time. So let's just edit this and come to our content. Anything regarding editing the content of text is usually in content. So I can just come here and put buy now all in caps. So we can work on the font much later and work on all of that. So we're basically building a structure. So we must always never forget to update. So when we update, it automatically updates our page, and it means that we can view what we have done, in the browser. So this is what we have so far. This is what we've created. It's still not perfect, although yes, now it's 2 lines, but it's still not perfect. There's still so much space. And I mentioned that every good website has a lot to do with color blend, your text, and your pictures. It also has to do with good use of space. Good use of space can make something look very beautiful. You can notice that this is still very different. The space that we have here is too wide. All right, so one of the things that we can actually do again is that we can delete this space, because if you notice, this is how it looks so far. Let's delete this beef first of all so that we can see where we're going. So now it looks too small, the burger looks too small, everything looks too small, So another thing that we can do is that we can delete this section and see how it looks like. So you must learn to play around with things. So the moment I delete this section, automatically it becomes bigger. If you scroll down, can you see? Because, we said that it's a 3-structured page, which is right. But for us to achieve so many things, we want our burger to look bigger, we want our text to look bigger, we can actually make it 2 fonts. Now, this one we can easily change. Earlier, we spoke about advanced when we spoke about margin and padding. So we're going to do margin and padding for this image as well. Because if you notice, this is not on the same line. Let's see how that progresses. If you notice here, it's more on it's on the same line. But for us, we don't have it on the same line. So we can do an advance, and then we have margin again. So just come to margin and you can see bottom and top. Just, play with the bottom and top buttons. So when you do that, you can take your burger up. So you have the ability to do that, and you can also save this here. So when I come to my home screen, I can also edit. Okay, it has auto saved for me. Can you see now? It's on the same level. All right. You can also do that spacing with your advanced feature. Reduce the spaces and all of that. Try and make it look exactly how it is here. Because one of the things about Elementor is it allows you to, play around. Be as expressive as you can. So this is what we've learned so far today. Any questions before we do a final roundup?
All right. Thank you so much because I've learned so many things. But I think I missed out when you downloaded the image, the burger image. So I didn't actually know how you done. Are we going to find that in the inspect session or where exactly? Are we to right click and?
Yes. So the burger image. Now, burger images are different with different websites. There are some websites that might be a bit problematic for you to actually download the image. It all depends. Some websites actually make it available. Some websites don't make it available in their code. So for this particular website, when you right click on this particular portion, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so when you right click, you can see that, usually we've been working on CSS, but usually images are usually in HTML. So this portion is HTML, this portion is CSS. So images are usually in HTML. The moment you right click on a feature, it will automatically highlight the feature for you. Can you see here? It has highlighted beef because I highlighted it. If I right click this one, it will highlight it for me as well. P to P shows it highlights it. So if I click on image, it's going to, if I inspect image, it's going to highlight image for me. So when I come here, I can see what we call an IMG source. So the IMG source is where they got the image from. So this one is available to us. So all I need to do is just come here, hover on it, and you see the link, current source, rayoflightthemes.com. That's where they got the source of the image from. So what I need to do is I just need to click on it.
Click on it.
And the moment I click on it, I can just, right click and save image as or anything. And that's just basically for the image.
All right, thank you. And one more thing. How do we do about some sites that actually never leave room or opportunity for this? Like the inspection, you right click, but you could not see. Is it only available for WordPress or what? Because there are some sites that you can right click on. Okay, what I'm saying is that, for example, I can see that we're trying to design our site based on this one.
Yes.
This one that we already have. What about some sites that never give room for the inspection site to see all the features of the site?
Every website gives you room to inspect. It just depends on your browser. So originally, Chrome started the inspect feature, but as time went on, some other browsers started picking it up. But not all browsers have the ability to inspect. But Chrome can inspect any website. I can inspect any website I want to go to. You can give me a website from the top of your head. Let's go to Jumia. If I go to Jumia, I can also do the same thing. I can right click and then inspect. Automatically it comes and it divides my page into two. So I can right click anything, any page, anywhere. I have the ability to do that. Can you see I've already gotten the background color from this particular feature? So
yes, I can see.
So just pay attention to this. Now, when they were building this one, instead of using PX, for the other website we were using PX and like this one, they use REM. So it's 0.875 REM, 1 REM. That's the, what's it called? The units that they used. Or in our Elementor, when we were working with our, Yes, when we're working with the style, our typography, we were working with PX. You can see here, this is REM here, but we're working with PX for most things. So just be sure that you're working with REM. REM is what they use to. Or if you don't see REM in your, for example, if you come to line heights, there's no REM, it's just PX and EM. You can convert. So I can just come to Jumia website and see, okay, how many PX is 0.875 REM. And that just helps you to, you know, be able to use it on your own website. So every website, you can expect any website.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All of these things, we'll learn all of these things when we're talking about margin and padding. Like we used it today, but I'm sure most people don't really have an understanding. I just used it to achieve the goal. But subsequently, we'll learn it as time goes on.
All right, sir.
Okay, so I'm totally lost at this point, I must say.
Okay.
But it's just me, though. My attention span is not very long, so at some point I lost it. So I don't know if the recording can be made available so that I'll be able to practice what you said.
Yes, it's going to be available. I think it's going to be
immediately after the class, because it's important. Because one we asked earlier, or were told it will be made available at some point later, but I think it will be too much. Then I'd have lost some. I need to be able to follow what you're doing part time.
Yes, as we're doing it. Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Don't feel pressured to. People have different, you know, paces at which they learn. I'm a very slow learner, so I understand that, you know, sometimes I might need more time and I might need more resources, but no problem. I'll also try and make available some other resources as well, PDF files, videos that can help you practice as well. Because I want you to also practice on your own, because that's the key, so that when you come on Saturday, it's just easier for you to learn and faster. So I'll try and see, but you can also ask again on the WhatsApp group if it's going to be made available, if it can be made available. If not, we'll find an alternative.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sweet, you had your hand raised up. Any question?
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Fine, thank God. Hi.
Please, you help us pronounce your surname.
Eshet.
Oh, Eshet. Okay, nice to meet you, Eshet.
Yes. It has been a very hectic day for me. I just came in right now, so I've been following it on the road. So that is the reason I couldn't say anything. Like, I'll be very, very happy if this recording is being presented today or sent today to us, because in as much as there are lots of tutorials on YouTube, but the way you explained it is actually different, because I've watched some YouTube tutorials concerning this. It's just quite different. There are some things that they skip, but in your own explanation, you took it one after the other. And I'll appreciate if this can, at least you can liaise with Boss Femi, let him make sure that this can be sent to us so that at least we can practice it from henceforth, because it will really help us so much.
All right, no problem. Just put it on the WhatsApp group, then I'll also try and see if I can get them to release it.
Okay.
But
Thank
if
you.
they can, no problem. We'll find a way around it.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, regarding the groups, just a reminder, we said Ibrahim, Oluchi, and Smith are going to be in one group. And we said Miriam, Yomi, and Isaac. Isaac is not here right now, so we're going to replace Isaac with Mr. Taiwo. So Mr. Taiwo is going to replace Isaac. We would look for another group for Isaac as time goes on. We would probably add him to one of the groups. So group 1 is Ibrahim, Oluchi, and Smith, and group 2 is Miriam, Yomi, and Taiwo. Okay, Ibrahim, you want to say something?
All right. Oh, no. I just want to listen about the group we are in.
The groups, okay. All right, Smith, okay, you can go ahead.
Yes, I didn't really get that part you said about group because maybe I might have got lost in that aspect. I just wanted to refresh me on what the group is all about, please.
Okay, so before the end of this class, you must be able to, you first of all build a website with your group. So we'll have a platform for the group, for each group. As time goes on,
Okay.
you have a platform for you. You create your website. So, for example, if you're going to be Smith, Oluchi, and Ibrahim, you can all decide, okay, Smith should handle the About Us page, Oluchi should handle the Contact Us page, and Ibrahim should handle maybe the homepage or something for a particular website, let's say a hospital website. Then when you do that, it will make you understand the importance of teamwork, which is one. It will also help you to, learn faster. Instead of trying to do a very bulky project, you can just handle one aspect. It also helps you to learn collaboration. Then when you've done that, you can now do your own project individually. It's very important. You must do your projects individually as well. Then you work on real life projects as well. If we have the time, work on real life projects, probably with real life customers. So you can feel the heat and the pressure that comes with working with customers, because it's not just to build websites. It's all about building websites to the satisfaction of who you are building website for. So that's just basically it. And Miriam, you had your hand up as well.
Yes, I actually wanted to say, I don't think that the WhatsApp group that I belong to is where, like, I don't see these names in the group.
Okay, I'm not very
I don't
sure.
know if there's another WhatsApp group.
What's the title of the WhatsApp group you're in? What's the heading?
I have, let me see. I have a source in software dev.
Okay, I think that's more like a general group. I'm not very sure, but I think that's a general. If it's possible, I would love if we can have.
I think that is the general group.
Yes, I think so.
That is the general group.
I think so.
That is the only one I have.
No, if it has
Yeah, I think
software,
it's good if we can have a group
that
for
should be the
us.
group that we are in.
Yeah, that's what I mean as well. I'm also
Okay, that means you have another group for people like us that you're doing, right?
Okay, so we'll have to confirm as well. I just make sure so that I can have those one actually. It's necessary.
Okay, no problem. All right, no problem. That's what I wanted to know. Thanks.
So that I can even send materials as well. I can send videos as well, so that we can practice. And also assignments. There are plenty of assignments that are going to come. Let me just give the heads up, so you can learn and practice them better. All for the good of everything. Okay. Would that be all?
Yeah.